What's up, guys? It's Parallax Abstraction, and welcome to PXA Peeks at Seraph. You're probably like, wait, didn't I see something about this on the channel a while ago? Yes, you did. So I actually did a fairly lengthy live stream of this game some time ago, and the developer of this game from Dreadbit actually came in and chatted with me for a little while. It was actually kind of rad. But I was also super tired when I did that live stream, and my commentary sucked, and frankly, I think I did a crap job of explaining what this game is, so I have decided to give it a second video treatment. So, fair warning, this game is in early access presently, and I have said before that early access is something I generally do not partake in anymore. However, this is a dev that I think is doing early access right. He has said that he does not need the money from early access to complete this game, so it's coming out regardless. He said the main reason he did it was to get feedback from the community, principally on balance stuff, which is cool. I can respect that. And this game is hell of polished already, and he's been adding to it fairly recently. So just since I did that live stream, actually, there's been a number of improvements to the UI. He's added more weapons. I think there's been some performance improvement. There was some stuttering I had in this game before that doesn't seem to be there anymore. And he's also added some challenge modes, which we're going to go into. So it's pretty cool. If you want a more in-depth, lengthy gameplay demonstration, I would recommend going and checking out that live stream, because we are not starting from the beginning in this video. All right, so this is an interesting title. So this is an action platformer game where you don't aim. Your guns are fired completely automatically. Well, not fired automatically, but the game aims for you. Your main goal in this is to control the movement of your character and to basically, well, do some pretty badass moves while the aiming is handled by the game itself. When I first heard that idea, I was like, I don't know about that. But you know what? It actually works really well. The auto-aim is very quick, it's very responsive, it's very precise, and he's given you, the developer has given you enough to do outside of firing your guns that it doesn't feel boring. It doesn't feel like the game is playing for you. Not at all, in fact. So this game does have a story. It's a weird one, and I frankly don't fully understand it. So you're not a god, but you're like, well, you're a Seraph. So you are like a vessel for God's will on Earth or something like that. And you're in this sort of weird techno-dystopian future, and you've been sort of like imprisoned, I guess, and you're trying to break out of this prison, and you have some people who are helping you along the way, and you have to fight your way out of this weird undersea prison that is packed with demons, I guess. I don't know, it's really weird. But it's also very different and unique, and not something you really see that often, so I kind of like the idea. You know, I'm no religious person whatsoever, but I think it's a cool idea. And as you progress through the game, you'll go through a number of different levels and different environments. And what you have to do is, in order to complete a level and progress, you have to complete an objective. Sometimes that's taking out an enemy. Sometimes that's taking out these little weird, like, demon fountain things that will attract a large number of normal mobs as you take them out. And you have to complete those objectives in order to unlock the door that lets you move on to the next level. The core idea is pretty simple. So yeah, Fountain of Terminus, that's what these things are called. So it's these things. They take a lot of damage. They don't fight back specifically, but as soon as you get up on them, enemies are like, yo, and they come piling in there, and I just got myself killed, so there you have it. So now, this is a change that I believe the developer has made since I did my live stream. So it used to be that when you died, that was it, and you started a level over again. It seems to be at this point that you actually get multiple lives, but each time you come back to life, you start with less base life, and your maximum goes down. So you see there my health bar in the upper left. You see how there's that gray section at the end? That seems to be the case. So because I died, it went down. That's almost like a Dark Souls thing, or perhaps more accurately a Demon Souls thing, which is that, you know, if you die, you get another chance, but you actually have to do it with a bit of a handicap, which is, I think that's a good mechanic for a game like this. I actually think that works quite well. And there's actually a lot to manage here beyond the core combat. So you may have seen that little locker thing I was at there. So in this game, you have these pistols. So these pistols are the sort of dual pistols. She sort of fires them Devil May Cry style, as you can see here. And that this game, in many ways, you could call it 2D Devil May Cry, because it has the sort of fast-paced acrobatic combat and the sort of double guns and all this stuff. And you're sort of juggling different abilities and chaining enemies along in combos and stuff as you go. I think it shares a lot in common with that game's DNA, which is a very cool thing. And you have your main pistols here, which have unlimited ammo. You also have one secondary weapon that you can pick up. So this can be, in this case, it's assault rifles. There's also shotguns. There's a rail gun that's actually really rad, and that's one of the new additions. There's a bunch of other things like that. They're much more powerful, but they have limited ammunition. And you'll find ammunition in some crates and lockers in the game. You'll find different weapons that you can pick up. You can only have one secondary weapon at any given time. So when you come up to a locker, you'll actually see if you have something on you. It will actually give you a live comparison, sort of like an MMO, where you can look at the different stats and be like, all right, do I want to switch this out or not? And if you choose not to, you can actually disintegrate the item in the locker for crafting items. And there is sort of a crafting mechanic in this, which I'll get to after this. So in this area here, you saw that little sector lockdown timer. So there are some sections and some levels where you get into where you get locked in, and you're basically stuck there and have to fend off an endless wave of enemies for a certain period of time before you can progress on. There are also locked doors in some levels which are on a timer, so you unlock the door from another point in the level, and you've got to hightail it to get into the door before that timer expires. And if you get into that area, you get a bunch of bonus stuff, which is usually like a double damage or a reduced damage multiplier, things like that, in addition to some other treasures. You're also going to see down there in the bottom left. Oh yes, there's also a Twitch mode in this, which you probably saw in the stream. I thought I turned that off, but I guess not. Basically, if you're playing this game live on Twitch, you can have your chat vote to have good or evil things happen to you in the next at the start of the next level. It's not very useful unless you're a fairly popular streamer, because otherwise you're not going to get many votes. But it's a cool concept. I like it, and it also puts in a bounding box in the UI for your camera, so you can make sure that the UI will never get in the way of your camera at any point, which if you're a Twitch streamer is a nice little feature. I like games that are doing this weird little integration thing with Twitch. I think it's a nifty idea. So okay, so I've completed the base objective, and now the door is open. So you see that little pointer there that says exit. If you have not been through the rest of the level yet, you don't have to leave right away. You can, stay around here. You can kill some other enemies. You can find some other treasures. You don't have to, but it can be to your benefit to do that. But of course, you're taking more risk because you're putting yourself open to more damage. You also see down there in the bottom left the difficulty meter. So the difficulty scales as you go. So essentially, the better you play, the harder the game gets. Which is a good thing in many ways, because it means that you're not going to get OP and basically end up just, stomping your way through the end of the game because you've ground out a bunch. It actually will allow you to scale things up a little bit, which I like. And I believe the rewards increase as the difficulty increases as well. So there's a little bit of story stuff here. None of this is voice. This is just all text. But it's also not super long, so it makes it relatively straight. It's relatively easy to follow along. It's not a very... You don't get a big narrative dump after every level, which I appreciate as well. Alright, so we'll do one more thing here, and then I'll show you some of the upgrades and the power-ups. So you do level up, as you can see. I actually leveled really well there. And as you level, you can... So it's increased your maximum health. In addition, you may choose a blessing or a blessing upgrade. So you have these little blessings here. You can see the descriptions at the bottom, basically different sort of passive bonuses that you get as you go through the game. And you can level these up to higher levels. We haven't put anything into this one yet, so let's do that. We actually have several upgrades available here, which is weird. I'm not sure why that is, but... All right, there we go. So we only had 2. So you can either save and quit out here and come back later if you want. This isn't a roguelike, so you're not stuck in your one playthrough, or off you go. Okay, so here's the next one. So we're in a different area here now. So this is pretty neat. So this is the sort of core idea of the game, and I like it quite a bit. So streamer has been rewarded. So because I'm not actually playing in chat, it's just considering it a 50-50 vote, and I basically, it's giving me 50% odds of something good or bad happening, which is kind of neat. I like that it still gives you the result of that, even if you don't have a chat or if you're running this on your own. So, but it's little things like that. So it's like, it's giving me 2 extra lockers in the game, which are potential weapon or power-up pickups. I've also seen stuff where, like, if somebody picks evil, it will destroy your secondary weapon, or I think it might start you with lower health, or you might take more damage, little things like that. It's not stuff that will make or break your game, just things that can change things up a little bit. And I like stuff like that where it's subtle influence. It's not, you know, it's not like, hey, guess what, we completely screwed you. Because if they completely screwed you, why would your chat select anything but bad, right? Because, you know, it's friggin' Twitch chat. It's all about suffering. So, you know. You also see here on my face button, so by the way, I am playing with an Xbox One controller. You can play this game with a keyboard and mouse if you want. I prefer it this way, but it's totally playable with keyboard and mouse. The developers did factor that in. So, oh, that was a very quick level. So, all right. So yeah, we have these face button abilities. You can change these up. So one of them is kind of like this boomerang thing that does a significant amount of damage to enemies it flies through. This is just a knockback attack, and then X is smite. So you've seen with certain I got myself killed. So you've seen with certain bigger enemies that we've had, when I've gotten them down, I've had to walk up to them and press X to sort of finish them off like that. That's what that smite miracle does. And you actually need that in order to finish off some of the higher end enemies. And the really higher end enemies, you may actually need to do that to multiple times over. So that can make things quite interesting as well. So yeah, it's neat. I beat the enemy for this level to leave very, very early on. It hasn't done this before, so there's a lot of level left, but I could actually skip all this if I wanted. But obviously I can go through here and pick up some stuff, which is kind of, that's different. Usually you have to, you know, get yourself all the way to the end of the level to get the final enemy, but here it's just like, no, you beat him early on. You can leave right now if you want. So it's cool. I like that it did that. It sort of mixes up the level variety a little bit. Okay, here we go. So I still got my assault rifles here. So the secondary weapon is usually what you want to use because it's either faster or does more damage, but at the same time, you do have limited ammo. The thing is, when you pick up ammo for it, if you're on your regular gun, it will not automatically switch back to it. So you have to remember to check it once in a while to make sure of that. So here's a locker here. So this is a diamond coin. So this is a power-up, actually, that allows you to... There's a bit of an early access thing there. You might have seen that it was called diamond_coin_name. Early access, folks. So yeah, in addition to that, there's items like that beyond the weapons that allow you to get actual stat bonuses, effectively. And you can only carry one of those at a time as well, so you can exchange those out as you go. If you find one in the locker that you're like, oh, this might be more to my benefit, you can take it. If not, you can disintegrate it and get more crafting components. And after this level, I'll show you guys what the crafting stuff looks like, because it is a very key component of this game, and it's a really neat system. Again, something that I haven't really seen before. Okay, so we can switch to the submachine gun Mark 1. Let's do that. And then we'll disintegrate the current weapon. So that's the machine gun. So as you can see, super crazy quick, very useful when dealing with crowds and things like that. So, all right, let's get out of the... Ooh, hang on. There's stuff here. So a lot of this crafting material hangs on as well. Because this is not a roguelike and you can save your progress and back out of the game, the crafting stuff usually sticks with you. So you really want to try to maximize that however you can, right? That's also rather critical. So I know there's other stuff in this level that I missed, but that's okay. Let's just get out of here. Screw you. Nice. All right. So we'll get out of here. Yeah, it's interesting throughout this story. Seraph basically comes out very righteous and is like, I represent God, I am more important than everything else, or rather God's will is more important than everything else, but she starts to get some humanity and humility as she goes. It's rather interesting to see. I am curious how that will progress going forward. So here's my stats. Did pretty well there. All right, save and quit. Okay, so here we are. Now, here's where things get very interesting. So you've got 3 different types of upgrades here. You got your oaths, you got your transmutations, and you got your rebirths. So what oaths are essentially stat bonuses as well. And you're going to see here that you've got a number of different ones here, and they all have very basic. So you see here they all have very basic explanations of what they do, right? So there's munitions-related items, which affects your weapon power. There's defensive-related items, which, as you would imagine, affect your health and defenses. And there's also holy ones here, which you can see. So you also have on your left trigger in this game. You probably saw me use it. It's called the blink ability. So it allows you to jump around parts of the level very, very quickly, and it's on a limited charge. So you have items here that enhance those things, like miracles. So here, blinking through an enemy will damage them. Collecting full shards will now boost your maximum health, etc., etc. So you can have as many of these active at a time as you want, but you need to use shards in order to power them up. And this is where stuff gets very interesting. So there's different levels of shards there, you see. You've got common, uncommon, rare, epic, supreme, kind of like an MMO or any other type of loot game. And as you can see by looking under the powers here, depending on what type of shard you have equipped, you will get different levels of bonuses for those particular things. Obviously, the uncommon one is the common one, I should say, is the easiest to get. I already have 4 of them. But if you want to make them stronger, you can actually combine lower level shards into higher level shards. Obviously, the epic and supreme ones are kind of redonkulous in terms of their requirements, as would make sense. But see here, I have miracle proficiency. The cooldown times of all miracles is reduced, so this would be pretty handy. So I'd like to put this in, maybe an uncommon one, but I don't have that. Well, I have 3 common ones. Oh, and look at that. Yoink! You can take 3 of those and make 1 better one, so you can sort of trade up. So there we go. That's in there now. So now the cooldown time of all of the miracles is reduced by 8%. That can turn the tide in a difficult battle. And obviously, if you're willing to really grind out these things, you can basically make yourself, well, you can turn from God's vessel on earth to God, pretty much. You can see this is crazy. And some of these are locked and require, you spending a certain amount on other prerequisites to get that. Very neat way to customize your character and guide them with regards to the way that you think would best suit your playstyle. I like that a lot. I think it's a cool idea. Transmutations are basically you are able to get yourself more items in the world. This is a neat concept because you see there's crafting materials here and there's quite a few different ones. It actually gets pretty deep here. So in this tab, all you're doing is buying better weapons or weapon upgrades. But this is what's interesting. You are not buying the guns. You are buying the means for the guns to potentially appear in a locker in the world. So by buying these, I'm not guaranteed to get them. However, they could show up in the world, which I think is a really interesting concept. So you can. So here you see I've already transmutated Mark II upgrades for a lot of the guns and also made some other ones in the world. So again, you can customize towards your playstyle, but it's a bit of a dice roll because you're not guaranteed to see these things at every time. So it's a neat idea, and I like the fact that you're not just giving yourself stuff, you're just giving yourself the possibility of stuff. Some people I could see are not going to like this, but I like the idea. I think it's pretty cool. So let's craft the shotgun here. So there we go. This item has been added to in-level locker, so it will just appear sometimes. And of course, yes, there's crafting stuff everywhere, but there are no microtransactions in this game. You cannot buy power. You cannot buy your way to real money. This is not. You cannot buy your way with real money to better power. This is not Tron Runner. Okay, so wards, same thing here. Different idea. These are those ring items that I was telling you that you can pick up in lockers. Again, these give passive bonuses. And now I don't have any crafting materials needed to get these. But as well, so you see there's some placeholder names there, again, early access folks, but you can look through these and compare them and get an idea of what the upgrades will give you. So if you like something, also this shows the components that are necessary here, and you can sort of look through those. But yeah, you can compare stuff and figure out what path you want to take and buy the upgrades. If you buy the upgrades that you think will best help you get through the game. So you have the choice. I like that. Miracles, same thing. These are the spells that you have. I mean, they're called miracles, but they're effectively magic spells. So you can see the ones that I have here. Some of these I can upgrade. Some of these are ones that I don't have yet that I can buy. I believe the developer has said that there are more of these coming. There aren't very much right now, but they are being added, and I believe on release there will be more of them. So it's a pretty deep system, you know? There's a lot you can do here. There's a lot of different ways you can spec your character and a lot of different ways you can choose to go. And obviously, if you're willing to really play this for a long time, you can grind out some friggin' crazy stuff if you want. And, yeah, here we go. Rebirth. Purchasing Rebirth unlocks an account permanent set of buffs and rewards, but at a considerable cost. So this is very interesting. This is basically the high roller area. So a Rebirth essentially is an almost complete respec of your character. So you can see here, 6% damage increase in all game modes, 6% health, 40% chance that enemies will drop a shard, a halo graphic that circles Seraph in level, Rebirth 2 icon on all leaderboards, but it does a whole bunch of other things to you. Basically, you can get a large-scale permanent upgrade, but you'll be kicking yourself in the nuts in other respects. You're going to be really hindering yourself. This is feels almost like prestiging in a Call of Duty game. You're making a considerable sacrifice in order to gain something beneficial that will help over time, but at a major sacrifice right now. Some people aren't going to like this, but it's optional. You don't have to do it. I really think that it's cool that it's there, but also its requirements are Supreme Shards, and Supreme Shards are very hard to get. So that's going to take a while, I'll tell you that right now. Alright, so one of the other things that has been added recently as well is, also, one of the things that's been added very nice, he's added the ability to select your miracles directly from the menu. You couldn't do this easily before. I'm really happy that that Dreadbit added that. That's very cool. They've also got daily challenges in this game. Very common thing in a lot of minor indie games, but something that I like a lot. Daily challenge, so here, today's challenge, Big Game Hunter, slay 15 elite demons as quickly as possible. So you can, also there's a survival mode. A survival mode is literally just get through the game and survive for as long as you can and get on a leaderboard. So you can see all the people dominating the leaderboard here have been rebirthed multiple times already. That's really, this is just literally a score attack mode, which is great. I love score attack modes. That's a good thing. There's also rewards you get for participating in it that can carry over to your main game. But as you can see, the best rewards are for the Savant players. So yeah, but the daily challenge is just that. So let's go here. Take a swig of coffee while this loads. All right, there we go. Challenge. Kill 15 elite demons as quickly as possible. So this is probably pretty tough, but let's take a look here. And these shards you pick up as well, you can see are basically experience that helps you level up. In this daily challenge mode, your level does reset. This is so you do get to maintain your level during the during the main game, obviously the story mode, but this is sort of a different thing, so that's why it's been reset. These are definitely not elite demons. All right. I presume I just have to find them. So this challenge is not necessarily a quick one, you know. It's not an easy or fast thing. So it's something that may still require a bit of time and effort from you if you really want to participate in it fully. But you're sort of getting the idea here. But it's doing what daily challenges in games like this do well, which is taking the gameplay of the main game, putting a little spin on it, to give some variety, to keep people coming back and give them something different to do. And I always like that. You know, it's actually not necessarily... Oops. Okay, I guess I died there. What did I do? Wait, why does she have wings? Okay. Yeah, I guess I died there. I quit out of the status screen really quickly. But yeah, these daily challenges, things, I like them because, yeah, they're designed as a way to keep people engaged with the game, but also they're a way to keep people engaged with the game. It's not a one-and-done thing, and you finish the story with this, and you're like, well, that's the end of that. No, this game has actually a number of different systems designed to keep you in, but to reward you for staying in. And I always respect that, and I like devs that are able to do that. So... yeah, in case you haven't noticed, I like this game. I like the soundtrack in it. I think the mechanic of, hey, here's an action game where you don't aim the guns, they made that work in a way that makes a ton of sense. I seem to recall the dev said in my stream that he was very inspired by stuff like The Matrix and things like that, and he said, wouldn't it be cool to be able to do some of the moves that they did in The Matrix, but without having to be, you know, esports grade at playing the game in order to do that. And I think they came up with a really good mechanical system for that. Yeah, this game sounds good. It looks pretty good. It's a Unity engine game, and yet it doesn't look super dated, which is nice to see, and it also doesn't run like crap. Oh, there we go. Challenge score. Yeah, there's a lot of placeholder stuff there. So, okay, so I guess those were all considered elite level demons. 14th place on the leaderboards. That's all right. And I may have actually gotten, I don't know what rewards I got there, but anyway. So yeah, I like this game. I think it's really cool. I think it's pretty well complete for an early access game, though as you've seen, it's got some rough edges, so you're gonna have to be buyer beware on that stuff. He also added a codex here that gives some information on all the different types of enemies and things like that, which I think is pretty neat. And he's adding stuff to it regularly. I really like the idea. I've never really seen an action game quite like this before, and that's what I enjoy about it. It's unique. It's familiar, but it's also unique in its way. Like, I'm not... You can see the Devil May Cry and other such inspirations in this game for sure, but it does things in its own way, and it does them very well. I'm rather impressed about it. And for a game that was made by a very, very small team, it feels like it's got a real nice coat of polish on it. And if you have to do early access, the way these guys are doing it is the best way, I think, where you're not counting on the community to hopefully fund your game enough that it gets finished. You know it's going to get finished. You just want their help to polish it, and that's cool. I think that's I think that's the good way to go about it. And yeah, I enjoy this. I'm probably going to keep playing this. I probably will wait until release before I dig into the campaign and try to finish it completely. I would like to be able to play this with the sort of full roster of features. You know, this game also just got, like, the recent update added achievements and things like that, which it didn't have before. So I think I would rather put my time into this when it's fully done. But I like it. I think it's really good. And like I said, there's a much more involved, lengthy gameplay session in that stream VOD, but I hope this gives you a bit more of a condensed, better explained version of what this is, because I thought this game really deserved that, and I think it deserves more attention. I like the concept here, and I like the fact, you know, this is what indie development is supposed to be. It's people trying something different, and they took an established gameplay formula and spun it in a cool way that I really appreciate. So yeah, that is Seraph, developed and published by Dreadbit Limited. It is available on PC right now in early access for... I am a bad person. I just pulled a giant bomb and didn't remember what this costs. I am so sorry. Just a second here. I don't know if you can see this on... I don't know if you can actually see this on stream, but... Okay, it's $15 US, basically, or your regional equivalent. That's a pretty good price for this, but you know, if you want a feature complete thing, you might want to wait. You might want to wait until release. But I will do another video on this when it comes out. But I really like what they've got here so far. I think there's the makings of a really good action game in here. My name is Parallax Abstraction. Thank you all very much for watching. If you liked what you saw here, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel. That does help me out a great deal. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. Time to murder some more demons. Take it easy, guys.